Everyone, this is Matt Holden, co-founder and CEO at CarbonSuite, and today we're going to be looking at a quick demo of our sustainability disclosure module from CarbonSuite. Thanks so much for joining. Let's get right into it. So we'll start again looking and just doing a refresher on our sustainability journey. So the step we're on right now, the stage we're at, is our reporting foundations. We had some other videos that looked at CarbonSuite as a whole, an overview, and then we had another video that looked at our corporate carbon accounting module. Today we'll be focused on the sustainability disclosure module and how this feature works from CarbonSuite. So what we're going to be focusing on here today is really how, after you've collected your sustainability information, how you can work to disclose that information in a structured and export-ready format. So a couple of the mandates that you might have on your radar related to your sustainability disclosure and reporting, ESG, kind of just general environmental, social, and governance reports. The CSRD, this is the EU's Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, mandatory sustainability reporting out of the EU. ASRS, this is from the Australian government, the Australian Sustainability Reporting Standards, again, similar types of reporting related to your sustainability information as well as risk assessment for companies that are in Australia. California has their own mandates as well, the state of California, related to disclosure of greenhouse gas emissions and climate risk reporting. And then you've got CDP, which is kind of a general purpose voluntary disclosure framework for sustainability information. GRI, we mentioned in the last video, Global Reporting Initiative, and then the International Sustainability Standards Board. Lots of acronyms. The big picture within these different frameworks is that it's a way to disclose a consistent and accurate picture of your organization's sustainability footprint. Okay. So within reporting foundations, CarbonSuite has a product called Sustainability Disclosure. And what the Sustainability Disclosure product does is really helps you automate this disclosure process, piecemealing data in from both NetSuite, CarbonSuite, but from other systems and platforms as well. So you have various different data points that'll need to be collected for this type of reporting. It could be functional operational data from your NetSuite ERP. It could be data from CarbonSuite directly within your the NetSuite Suite app that collects environmental impact data. It could be human resources data, supply chain, other systems, things like that. And again, with all these different frameworks, you need a consolidated place to be able to disclose from, especially if you're under multiple different frameworks for one company. And like any other reporting process, it needs to be audit ready. It needs to be traceable back to the source system. And then from there, in before and after, you can perform materiality assessments to really understand what information is most relevant to your organization and how you can drive your sustainability risk reporting from there. So with that in mind, we'll take a look at the module itself. So I'll switch back over to my other screen and we'll get started. So I'm logged in here. This is our CarbonSuite cloud platform, slightly different view than the NetSuite Suite app, but it's all connected to NetSuite nonetheless, and again, built for NetSuite and helps you manage the data directly as a NetSuite user. So what this platform is used for is mostly external data collection, so data that would live outside of your ERP system, and then consolidation of that data and reporting it out externally. So we've got some other modules that are on the screen that we'll look in some other videos, other demo videos, but today we'll focus mostly on the sustainability disclosure module. Okay. So I'll start by opening up my list of disclosures. We've got a couple here that we can take a look into, but if I wanted to create a new disclosure within the system, this is where I would choose the framework that I'm interested in disclosing under. So you have the few examples on the board here. You've got just general ESG reports and kind of environmental social governance disclosures. This could be voluntary or mandatory, depending on where you're at in the world. You've got the disclosures related to the EU CSRD, mandate from the European Union. Austria, ASRS, and California disclosure. So it really is one centralized place to manage all of your sustainability disclosure information, and all the data required to fill up these disclosures is either connected directly to the CarbonSuite platform or can be integrated to your existing systems. Okay, so back into my list, and I'll open up. Let's just look at the ESG report today. Nice and simple example. So I've got just a very basic template on the screen here that we can look at together in terms of what something you could generate out of CarbonSuite could be. This is for our Acme Corp, our favorite demo company, and the ESG report for 2024. So one thing you'll notice is on the screen here is this kind of configuration of the template. So you've got different presentation templates that you can use to drive the format of the disclosure that gets published from the system. This one's just using a standard leaf kind of green background presentation template to get started here. You can also upload your logo from a URL or attach it here on the screen here, and then add different variables within the system to drive customization within the output that gets delivered from the disclosure module. And then you can save your templates here as well. So scrolling down, our progress bar will tell us how many of the data points that we have included and deemed to be material have been accounted for, have had data populated. So the overall progress is complete. We've got all the data completed for ES and G topics. We'll look at some of those in a second here on the screen before we do the publishing of the report. And then coming down here in terms of setting up your data points, we'll look at, again, this is just a super basic example with a couple of categories. You can have lots of different data points for your ESG disclosures. You can also add your own custom data points. So we'll look at first, we've got our greenhouse gas emissions by scope. Click on our settings here. And this is really where you define the data source. So either it's going to be a manual entry, and again, a lot of times manual entry is okay if it's qualitative data or just a quick entry from an external system that doesn't need to be integrated, or it could be a query. And a query, really what this means is it's either pulling data that already exists in the CarbonSuite system, or it's connecting to an external system to pull data directly from there. In this case, for the greenhouse gas emissions by scope, the data is being pulled from your NetSuite system, and so that'll be pulled in the form of a query. Okay. The data point's added here. You can remove the data point if it's no longer needed in the disclosure, and then add any other data points that are relevant. So I'll go ahead and click Fill Disclosure here, and then this is where you really get into the kind of core of the disclosure module. And again, some of the data will be qualitative, some will be manually input like this. Of course, this is your about company, so this isn't going to be really necessarily integrated from a third-party system. You can put some information about, the background of the company, message from CEO, general information about your governance principles, board of directors, right? So these are kind of, again, things that typically go into an ESG report. We like to say that ESG reports today, they're, a lot of the data is standardized in what gets disclosed, but each report is a snowflake, right? It's used to communicate your own message as a business, and you should be able to modify and customize your ESG reports to communicate the message that you're trying to communicate, right? So coming into just looking at one for, let's say, greenhouse gas emissions by scope. Again, this is querying directly from the NetSuite system. You have the ability to show the data in various different formats: pie charts, bar, line, group by different variables within the system, and show different values, as well as add comments. So what this will do is this will be kind of a live updating query of any data that's being sourced from external systems to produce this disclosure, and then it'll show you the impacts of those particular metrics in the query results here. Okay, so as you both go through your disclosure, the key is going to be to fill out each one of the fields that's required under the disclosure framework, and make sure that you populate data before you go on to the review stage. So once you get to this part, you'll have the ability to see all the different questions and disclosure data points that you decided to include based on your materiality assessment. You can go back and edit them if you need some additional data to be added to them. And then you'll see kind of I guess the preview of the quantitative information. It'll show up in the report. You can refresh the data like this. You'll be able to see the different types of data points that show up in your disclosure. So what this is doing is it's giving you another chance to audit and review this information, maybe pass it through an approval workflow to, to ensure that the data is correct before it goes out and gets published. And then from there, we can either present it or complete the disclosure. I'll first go into my presentation stage. And then I've put up on my screen, again, just kind of a very basic template that could be generated from the system. As a starting place, you can take this and run with it and customize it further afterwards. But this is kind of a quick and dirty look at something that could be generated as a start and then enhanced, using different templates within the system. So you've got your different metrics and data, greenhouse gas emissions by scope, greenhouse gas emissions by category. From here, you can print it to PDF and publish the disclosure that way. And then one thing you can do either from the system or through your own design, PowerPoint or Canva, however you like, you can integrate that template into a third-party system and kind of enhance it that way as well. So here's an example of, just a bit more polished report that could, come from the template from the system and has your own spin, kind of put on it from a company perspective. This would be a bit more, ready to go face the world and show your organization's commitment to ESG and sustainability over time. Okay. All right, and then finally, your last step would just be to complete the disclosure. Once you're done with it, of course, at this stage, it'll finish your disclosure, and then you can move on to the next one, right? All right. So again, very quick demo looking at the sustainability disclosure module. Just to recap, this will help you in any kind of mandatory or voluntary sustainability or ESG reporting. And it's connected to your NetSuite account, just like all the other modules from CarbonSuite, and allows you to really automate the disclosure of the sustainability information to various stakeholders. So thanks again so much for taking the time to watch. Let us know if you have any other questions related to this module. Happy to help out. And please do check out the other videos in the series looking at some of the other features from CarbonSuite as well. Thanks so much.